But first, here at 5:30, your road trip may soon involve rails instead of roads.
A new proposal would expand Amtrak services here in Ohio. So check out the map of the proposed routes. You can see Cleveland would be connected to cities like Columbus and Cincinnati, Dayton, and Detroit.
News 5 reporter Nadine Abasada begins our in-depth coverage tonight with a look at what needs to happen right now and how even one line could have a huge economic impact.
We announced big news for Ohio yesterday.
Senator Sherrod Brown's office announced a proposed Amtrak expansion that includes routes in the Buckeye State.
Good Amtrak service shouldn't be a privilege only for people on the East Coast.
The expansion would link the following cities together through 3 new routes: Cleveland, Columbus, Dayton, Cincinnati, then Cleveland, Toledo, Detroit, Chicago, Fort Wayne, Columbus, Pittsburgh, and they'll also increase services of the existing Amtrak Cardinal service in Cincinnati that goes to New York, D.C., Chicago, and other cities.
You know, Amtrak's ridership across the country is up 24.6% from fiscal year 22. Ridership in Virginia, North Carolina, all of them are breaking records.
Erin Rosillo is a chairperson for All Aboard Ohio. She believes our state has needed this for quite a while.
We are running into issues with highways being crowded, and we need transportation options. And unfortunately, in Ohio, it's been about 50 years since we've had the option other than using a car for transportation.
Adding that the economic impacts are also substantial. According to All Aboard Ohio, just the so-called 3C&D line project that includes Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, and Dayton would bring the state more than 1,200 jobs, $66 million in state-generated earnings, and $3.7 million in tax revenue. Cleveland alone would see more than 200 jobs, $14 million in generated earnings, and $530,000 in tax dollars.
It will mean new routes help Ohio businesses to grow and expand, attract new businesses to our state. It will mean easier travel for Ohioans. It means communities in Ohio will be more connected to each other, to others in the region, to the...
In the first phase of the corridor identification program, each corridor will be given $500,000 to come up with a plan that includes construction, costs, and improvements needed to get the tracks up and running.
The next step is the state of Ohio completing the service development plan. This is money to do the plans to show the Federal Railroad Administration what Ohio offers. Then it can apply for federal money.
Aaron says that it may be 6 years or more before we see those tracks, while Senator Brown hopes to get the routes in as soon as possible, adding there will also be plans to ensure fewer delays and faster trains.
It's how we bury the term Rust Belt.
Reporting in Cleveland, Nadine Abasada, News 5.
Can really be something. So let's go in depth now with a look at the potential economic impact of one of the proposed routes. This is, again, according to the nonprofit group All Aboard Ohio. A Cleveland, Columbus, Dayton, Cincinnati corridor would create more than 1,000 jobs across our state. The projected earnings generated from that route would be more than $60 million. And that would mean well over $3 million in tax revenue.